Is it weird to you when people approach you about that team and talk to you about that team, just like how much it meant to them and how much it meant to this country when, yeah, you were a part of it?
It is a bit. I think at the same time, though, we kind of understood the situation, representing Canada at home in the Olympic Games in the sport of hockey, which obviously is pretty popular here. So we understood that there were some expectations and people were hoping that we'd win the gold medal. The other athletes in the Olympics did a great job, and then the pressure was on us right at the end to pull it off, and we did it just by the skin of our teeth. So a little too exciting, I guess. But
yeah.
So I kind of want to go through this a little bit just from the start. And so someone like you're a lock. Like, it was never debatable whether or not you were going to be on this team. It was like, oh yeah, he's on the team when you're outlining things. Like, that's a lock. And but I do wonder what the conversations were like amongst guys that were going to play on this team in terms of how early guys started to talk to one another, whether or not you guys started to put, like, pairings and forward groups together, how much you thought you put into who was going to make this team, and the conversation surrounding, who was going to end up being there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously everybody would love to be on the team. There's a lot of really good hockey players that weren't on that team that could have easily been there and contributed to the success. Tough choices for the management group of those type of teams. There's no question about that. I suppose I was a guy that had been there before, sort of a veteran guy that, was hopeful to be there again. When I did get that opportunity, was tremendously excited just because it was in Canada. It was in my home province here in BC. So I feel there was a lot of talk amongst players. A lot of that stuff everyone keeps to themselves and sort of crosses their fingers and hopes for the best. But once we get there, guys are great. They buy in. They're willing to sort of do whatever the coaches ask them to do, usually a lot different than what they do on their normal club teams in the NHL.
So I know you enjoy it now, and looking back on it, it's probably a really, really fun memory. But while you were in it, did you enjoy it? Did you even get a chance to really feel like you were part of an Olympics, or was the pressure just so hhy that, it became maybe, I don't want to say a miserable experience, but almost like when you guys win, it's like a relief that it's over?
Sure. No, that's a great question because it's accurate. I mean, you do enjoy it, but at the same time, you're there focused on what you're trying to do to perform your best so that your team has a chance to accomplish its goal. So you're used to that. I mean, you as a professional athlete, you're used to having that pressure and sort of living that day to day. So it wasn't a drastic difference, but obviously the pressure was quite large, and we felt it. But the coaching staff, management staff, and all the players did a fairly good job of just keeping focused on what we needed to do to have success, and it worked out. There's no denying that we felt it, but at the same time, you get an afternoon off and you're able to sort of just release for a little bit, maybe watch some of the other athletes perform or visit with family and things like that. So you're able to do both, I think.
Yeah. So you missed 2006. You missed Turin because you had, I think it was a knee injury. But yeah, you were there in 2002 at Salt Lake. And that, I mean, there was a lot of pressure on that team too, right? And history on the line there, and you guys came through, and everybody remembers the Gretzky comments that kind of, he was trying to alleviate some of the pressure. But can you compare the feeling going into those two tournaments?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it'd been, I think, 50 years since Canada won a gold medal when we went to Salt Lake City to try and do that. And even though we weren't in Canada, we were well aware of sort of the expectations of what we wanted as players and what the country thought we should do was win a gold medal. So we definitely felt it there. And then obviously at home, playing in Canada, we felt it. So you enjoy it. You do learn to sort of enjoy that pressure. I mean, it means you have an opportunity. It means you have a chance to go out and do something pretty special. And, I guess maybe I'm thankful that I got to be part of that Vancouver one as an older guy that had been through some experiences. Not that it prepared you 100% for something like that, but prepared me a little bit so I could sort of handle it a bit better, I guess.
Man, 2002 was like peak poster time for people my age. And so I don't know who didn't have the Salt Lake City gold medal poster.
Yeah,
that's
no duh.
In the Hall of Fame pantheon of greatest sports posters in that country, like that's first ballot. That was like immediate. Everybody had that one. It's so weird for me to try to imagine being you guys because, obviously there was so much pressure on so many Canadian athletes because you're on home soil and there's own the podium and there's all this focus. And the difference is that the other athletes compete and then it's over for them. And it's just like, okay, time to relax, time to have fun in the Olympic Village, time to be celebrated like heroes. You guys are to the bitter end, and you're just like in the village watching people all of a sudden, like you see John Montgomery drinking the beers in the street and everyone's having a great time, everybody's partying, and you're like, yeah, we're like right in the middle of the pressure cooker here. Like, did that make it worse seeing Canadians having success? I know, again, you were a veteran guy, so you'd been through it before, but do you think that was harder maybe for some of the players knowing that, the pressure was just on you guys for so long?
Yeah, it was definitely an added challenge. Even just around the athletes' village, you could sense that the mood was changing. Like you said, other athletes had finished their competitions and were sort of in a totally different mode than we were. You know, they were in celebration or enjoying the rest of the games mode, and we were still focused on trying to win. But I think at the same time, just seeing the success that the other Canadian athletes were having, I think really sort of motivated and inspired us as a team as well. There was a good vibe going through the whole Team Canada in all events, and I think we fed off that for sure.
Talking to Scott Niedermayer. So I'm just like looking back at the whole tournament, I'm sure you can have a different feeling now than you did then. And it was relief. And now it's like, it was all a fun ride. What a funny joke it was. I'm sure you feel the same way about the Parise goal in the final minute. Although I don't. Like, I look at the highlights and I still am brought back to that moment.
That puck
and the anxiety.
misses you by what? In 2 inches, the entry to Parise? Yeah. Like, it just,
Yeah. Can you go, like, do you have those feelings when you rewatch the highlights? Do you rewatch the highlights? Can you take us back to that moment? Because, like, I know you'd been through so much, but how in that moment do you not be so deflated?
Well, you had a pit in your stomach. There's no question. The trick was not to sort of let the rest of your teammates see that, show confidence. That was really the approach I tried to take as an older guy there. But there's no denying it was not a comfortable moment there when you're, a minute or seconds away from winning a gold medal, and all of a sudden you have to go to overtime where one shot, one bounce can determine it. And you recognize that there's a bit of luck involved at that point. But the trick was to sort of show confidence and belief and head in there and believe that you're going to win it. And that's what I tried to do. That's what a lot of guys tried to do on that team. And we did get rewarded for it.
I know this sounds like hyperbole, but my palms were sweating just thinking about that.
Yep.
I genuinely right now I'm sitting here thinking of just how it would feel to be there to see. Because, man, like I think you're the closest guy to Parise when that goal goes in. You're like, the view is you're looking right at it.
Yeah.
And to try to turn around, like you just said, the one bounce to determine like the legacies of so many different players in that group. And how that just changed perception of sport in this country. Like, there was so much on the line.
Was anything said?
Yeah, but the fact that you go into the dressing room and you have to basically just carry that weight in there, and like it must have felt like the longest period of your life.
Yeah, it was tough. There's no question. Like I said, when that goal went in, there was a heavy pit in your stomach. You're like, oh, what just happened? And you recognize the situation for sure. As a player that was on the ice, you kind of replay it, and there's always something you think you could have done differently or better to maybe prevent that. And that was sort of a thought that goes through your head. You're like, geez, I hope that I'm not sort of responsible for not having success here. So you're dealing with all that, but at the same time, I think maybe just my experience, I realized the only way to actually correct that or have success was to look forward and be positive, be confident, and believe that we're going to do it. And that's what we tried to do. And like I said, fortunately, we're not here talking about the mistakes that were made.
We wouldn't be. Don't worry. We would have buried it.
Yeah, we wouldn't be talking about the anniversary of that.
Yeah, it would have been buried. We might have salted over Vancouver. It would have gone now. We're like, oh, remember Vancouver? It's like Atlantis now. Like, nobody knows about it. We just buried it under the sea.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Fine.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm just like JD. I'm just living and dying with the memories of the 10 years ago in that game. So the NHL looks like it's on the verge of returning to the Olympics. The NHLers weren't there last time. How important do you think it is to the fabric of this country from a sports perspective to go back there?
Yeah, I obviously people in Canada love it. I know the athletes, the hockey players love going, getting a chance to represent Canada. And I think just in a broad sense, it's great for hockey to have a real big tournament, worldwide sort of recognition and great hockey. I mean, there's nothing better than watching Olympic hockey with the talent that's on the teams now. Hopefully it does work out. Absolutely. I enjoy being able to do it, and I enjoy watching it, as well. So hopefully it works out.
When you guys finally did get to celebrate, who was the MVP of the party?
Well, you had kind of mentioned it. We went really right to the end, and we win it, and guys were taking off that night, heading back to their homes and getting ready to start playing again. So that's not fair. No, it's not. It's a pretty cruel situation to have to deal with, and you don't really get a chance to really soak it up, which is unfortunate. But guys, we hung out in the room for a long time and really just enjoyed that moment together and recognizing the contributions everybody made. So guys were having fun for sure, being silly, some stuff that maybe you don't see in front of a camera a whole lot, just in the room having a good time, maybe more relieved than anything possibly. I don't know, but we were happy to be there for sure.
The rest of the country celebrated for you.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's the worst. It's like you're flying, like you're leaving the airport, and all you just see is fire from the biggest party. You're like, great. No, so
we
super.
missed out.
Yeah.
We missed out on that part of it for sure.
Yeah, Rick Nash is like, going back to Columbus tonight, boys.
That's exactly what it was. Exactly what it was.
It's cool. It's totally fine. Can't wait to land there. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people waiting for me at the airport.
You got it.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, man.
That's the only way I can end this. Thank you for doing this and that.
Yeah, it was. You know what? I was happy to be a part of it. The whole country, just how it went for everybody, the fans, the people that were there to support all the athletes. Just to be part of that was a memory, one of the best memories I have for sure.
Scott, it was great reliving that with you. Appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Good talking to you.